Clemson receives 3 big commitments this week, and it seems as though things are getting back to normal for Clemson. All this and more right after the intro.
Go ahead and pack your dookie chicken. Go do what you do best. Go ahead and pack your dookie chicken, and the Tigers will do the rest. Take the fish out of water and try to make it.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Not Bobby Durkin Show, because I'm Brian Knight. I am not Bobby Durkin's, at least not right here. If you're brand new, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications. I know us YouTubers say that all the time, but hey, it helps the channel. You subscribe and turn on the notifications. It notifies you when I go live. Just like on my phone, I just saw that I was going live. So also, if you want to support the channel, there's a link below. You can click on it for as little as $1. That would be really cool, and I would appreciate it. So you're like, Brian, look, dude, this happened like 2 days ago. Why are you just now going live? Well, hold on. I'm looking at that. Yeah, I got my shirt turned around on me. I was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Yes, the Redneck Riviera. And I was like, of course, this would happen while I am gone. And I could have done a quick video, but I wanted to spend a little more time on the subject. So here we go. Starting off with Sammy Brown. Sammy Brown right now, according to 24/7 Sports, at number 5 overall, according to 24/7 Sports. Remember, these things can change. But he stands as the highest ranked linebacker in the top 24/7 era since 2010. Now, 24/7 Sports carries a lot of weight. If you go to different recruiting sites, they're all, a little jumbled up, but a lot of them are kind of close. But here's a big deal about Sammy Brown and why it's a big deal for Clemson to get him. And I want to share this because he's from Jefferson High School there in Jefferson, Georgia. All right. And I want to show how close it is. Athens, Georgia. Now, if you're a Bulldog fan, you're like, man, this means nothing, blah, 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 blah. But I want to show this on Google Maps, why this is such a big deal for us Clemson fans to get him, because just pause right here. I want you to think about this. I know we got some people getting in on the comments. I want to say hello in just a second. But I want to share this because when Clemson was really doing well, when we won the national championship with Deshaun Watson, where did we get him? Got him out of Georgia. We got him out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. Well, actually, Gainesville, Georgia. Then we get Trevor Lawrence out of Cartersville, Metro Atlanta. There we go again. But to get Sammy Brown out of Jefferson County, Georgia, I'm telling you, this is a big deal. It kind of shows that maybe Clemson is getting their edge back, their recruiting edge. And I want to show this map because this is a big deal. You see that? There's Jefferson, Georgia. There's where Sammy Brown is located. That's where he's playing football over there in Jefferson County High School. Look at it. It's a 30-minute drive to Athens, Georgia. 30 minutes. Now, if you back out here, you have to go all the way up here to Clemson. That's a big deal, folks. That says that Clemson's recruiting is taking a major step forward. Georgia, they've won 2 national championships in a row. This should be an easy win for Georgia. Georgia should be able, on their lunch break, to make the 30-minute drive up to see Sambo. Hey, Sammy. Hey, buddy. We just won 2 national championships. 2 national championships. We're right here, pal. You want to come on down to Georgia? You can be close to your family. Now, Clemson's not like a plane ride away from Jefferson County. But folks, I want you to understand something here. That was a major pickup. And you heard it from 24/7 Sports. 24/7 Sports says at number 5 overall, Brown currently stands as the highest ranked linebacker in the top 24/7 era. That beats Justin Flo. That beats a bunch of people. Justin Flo is the most recent. By the way, Clemson was recruiting him pretty heavy. Couldn't land him. He just transferred, by the way, from Oregon down to, I believe, Arizona, which doesn't make sense. Jordan Birch, who Clemson was recruiting really heavy, and everybody said, you're wasting your time. He's going to go to South Carolina. He just transferred to Oregon. Got Still Gamble in here. Good to see you, Slim Shady Canes. The Henderson sister showing up in force. It's the first time I've had them like side. Literally, if I could share my screen, their comments are side by side. It's good to see you. See all of you, Parker and Chase. Everybody in here. Sammy Brown is a big deal because it says that the culture that Clemson used to have and has went on hiatus for a couple of years. I'm not saying we've had bad recruits, folks. That's not what I'm saying. It has not been this elite in a few years. And for you to win championship football, you have to be recruiting guys like this. So we get Sammy, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, that's good. That's fine." And you watch it, folks. He can go out and have the same. He can have the same results as he had this season. And just because he doesn't sign with, I don't know, Georgia, which, by the way, he hadn't signed. He could decommit any day, folks. You know me on commitments. You can commit, you can decommit. But decommit at any time. But this is a big deal. But you watch him, his player rank will drop. But if he were to say, hey, I'm going to Alabama or Georgia, man, he'd stay right up there. It's just a mind thing, folks. I'm telling you. If you're a Clemson fan, you've seen this before. You've seen this before. You go, well, give me. Stop being so generalized. Give me a specific example. Let me give you a specific example. Remember when Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence were in high school? People were fumbling over themselves to say that Justin Fields was better than Trevor Lawrence. No, he wasn't. He was very, very talented. Well, he beat you at one time. Okay, great, wonderful. So we get Sammy. It's a big deal. This is a big win for Wes Goodwin. Chase said, no joinable link today. I might put that in there a little later. Not sure I agree with this take, Slim Shady Canes. Teach their own. I get it. He's not going anywhere. His family is a Clemson family. That's a good thing. Then we get notice about a guy. He's a top 100 guy. He's a wide receiver out of Tampa, Florida. We've had great luck with players out of Tampa, Florida, especially in this Dabo Swinney era. Sorry, my chair is doing this weird thing. 6'3", 190-pound TJ Moore. Terrance Moore, but everybody calls him TJ. This guy is at that typical 6'3", 190 pounds. Goes up, gets the football. A very, very talented player. By the way, Alabama was trying to get him. We got him over them. So that was a big deal, but it was like, hey, he's a 4-star. That's good. It's a 4-star. But once again, that Clemson slap that you receive sometimes. If you're a Clemson fan, you know that this had happened. This has happened. This has happened a lot. This guy can go up, and I'm going to move a little faster here. TJ Moore, he says, hey, man, I'm going to do my thing. Then Bryant Wesco out of Midlothian, Texas. Number 9 overall player, according to 24/7 Sports. Number 3 wide receiver in the country and number 1 in the state of Texas. Now, Composite says 37 nationally, number 8 wide receiver, number 8, whatever. And this guy he just had a plethora of offers, as he should. I mean, the guy's fast. He's 6'2", 170. He can go up and catch. He commits. He commits. Now, if you're somebody like me who's beating the drum over the past 3 or 4 years that Clemson was starting to decline, then it hadn't caught up with him yet. The numbers hasn't been there. And people were telling me you're stupid and dumb and blah, 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 blah. You're wrong. Okay, well, I've been wrong before. It won't be the first time, but I ended up being right. I've also been the person who said, when Garrett Riley was hired, I said, obviously, we're not guaranteed that he's going to come in and burn the woods up, but it's a doggone good hire, and it's a proper step towards returning to excellence. Most people, even if you're not a Clemson fan, could agree to that. You'd be like, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, definitely, 100%. I could see that. But then when you get the recruits believing in it. Now, I know Sammy, he's on the defensive side of the ball, but I'm telling you, when a player looks and sees that the team as a whole is returning to a healthy state, I don't care if you're a kicker, you're going to want to go to that school. And Bryant Wesco and TJ Moore coming to Clemson, committing. Once again, I know they can decommit. People decommit all the time. You remember Clemson got IMG year before last. We got IMG'd, and that I know of, Clemson's not recruiting any more players at IMG because of it. But what a big deal that within a 24-hour period that we had this level of commits. That's a big deal. And let me tell you what my prediction is, and then I'm going to put the stream link in here. If you want to join me and talk now, once again, I'll put it in there. Let's do about 3 minutes per guest. Remember, let's try to keep it clean. Had to go back in the other day and totally take a video off, and had to do a bunch of, because someone who I appreciate them following the show, but it was not family friendly whatsoever. So I had to edit it out. So let's keep it clean. But I'll give you my thoughts, and I'll throw that link up here. Take your calls. But I don't care what team is involved. When you have this level, this tier of players commit to a team this fast, I am going to tell you that speaks a world of truth to the recruiting world. I said that really bad. I poorly said that, but the truth is, it speaks volumes. And other recruits who were on the fence, or maybe Clemson was on down their list, they begin to get bumped up. Why? Because these guys have been in these elite camps with these players. They build relationships with them. They're friends with them. Oh, you remember when you were out at the elite camp with Sammy? Yeah, Sammy's a great guy. Sammy's a great guy. Dude, he's a beast, man. For him to want to go there, and he had all those offers. Bryant Wesco to leave Texas? Well, I thought Texas were buying up all the players they could get their hands on. They have Arch Manning. They have Quinn Ewers. They have... Why is Bryant leaving Texas? TJ Moore. Hey, man, TJ could go to Florida State. Florida State is making the move. Why does he go to Clemson? And you think that doesn't, maybe you're downplaying it because you just despise Clemson. You can't stand Clemson. Or maybe you've been pessimistic like I've been, and rightfully so, folks. If you've been pessimistic with Clemson over the past few years, you nailed it. You were right. We were told we were crazy. We were told we were wrong. And then we ended up being right. I'm not trying to be right just to be right. I'm not spewing out something or throwing something in the dark, hoping that it sticks. If I see that a team is losing its intensity, if I'm seeing that there's questionable player development, when I see that there's questionable coaching calls and plays and approach, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, guys, it may not get us today, but it's going to get us in the long run. You don't smoke one cigarette and get lung cancer. I mean, I know that's a touchy subject. I'm not out here preaching at anybody, but it just is what it is. You most likely. And I know somebody right now being a jerk is going to go, well, I know somebody got lung cancer, never smoked a day in their life. They are a teeny tiny minority. I hate that for them. I'm not putting down on them. I'm just telling you that if you smoke for a long period of time, there's a great chance it's going to come back to bite you. That's exactly what has happened to Clemson football. You started seeing some recruits be lost, no matter what the means may be, or the reason why that they went somewhere else. But this is a big win. Getting Garrett Riley in the offseason, saying, you know what, I gave a guy 1 year. Dabo Swinney pulled the trigger, and he pulled it fast, folks. I have to give it to him. Okay? And once again, Jamie, I'm with you. I feel bad for you. I am saying that the vast majority of people who does it, it doesn't end well. And I hate that. I hate that for your wife's uncle. I really do. But the point here is it doesn't happen overnight. Most stuff does not happen overnight. For Clemson seeing Garrett Riley be hired, now getting these types of recruits, and what that could spell out for the future, folks, you can take it to the bank. Then unless something bad happens, these guys are going to come play at Clemson, and they're probably going to bring some really talented buddies with them. That's what happens. That's my take. I believe that this is going to lead to other recruits committing to Clemson and maybe even decommitting from schools that they said, yes, I'm going there. Time will tell. So, folks, I'm going to take this StreamYard link. I'm going to throw it in the comments section. Once again, please keep it clean. Please keep it clean. Yes, Parker, the running back room is killer, and it is stacked. It is stacked. Jamie Stone there. I hope we hoist another natty. It'll probably be a few years, realistically. But I'm feeling pretty good as well. Matt O'Kelly on our way to another natty. Still gamble, having a feeling we'll see a few more this summer. Now, I'm going to tell you, folks, as I'm posting this in here, just go over this. If you come on and you start talking a bunch of crazy stuff, I'm just going to cut you off. I'm sorry. I'm not being a jerk, but I laid out the ground rules. I just want to keep it family friendly. Eric Weir, you said exactly what I was about to say. If that O-line ain't right, we'll have a ways to go. Yeah. So that's the next thing, is the development of the offensive line. Now, we've got some players that we've recruited over the past few years that are 4-star players that are offensive line. That's not chump change, folks. You've got to develop that. what's that Parks kid that's on the offensive line? He was a 4-star. We have Tristan Lee. He's a 4-star coming out of high school. Those players are still at Clemson. And as I've said before, if 4 and 5 stars are not developing, and Alabama was going after them. I mean, you have to ask yourself this question. Was Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, Georgia, all of those teams, were they wrong? Were they wrong too? No, it's a development issue. So, folks, I put the link here in here if you want to hop on. Got Slim Shady Canes coming on here. Slim Shady, where you at today?
Somewhere Louisiana bound.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's terrible.
My kid's on the road today with his church group going up to Kentucky. That art thing. And the last time I talked to you, I think you were in Kentucky or something like that. I can't remember. Made me think.
Probably. I go through there quite a bit.
Yeah. So, okay. So you said in the comment section, you say you don't completely agree with this take. Go ahead and talk to me, sir.
Well, I'm not disagreeing that it's a good get. Obviously it is. But I don't think it's as big of a deal to keep a top wide receiver away from Georgia because top wide receivers are just not flocking to Georgia.
What about George Pickens?
Okay, and he was the best one they've had since A.J. Green. So, two in a 10-year period is not something to write home about.
And you know me, I can't stand the whole Georgia thing. I can tell you, I get messages from Georgia fans all the time, except for like SEC Dog and maybe a few others. But the vast majority of Georgia fans who comes on my Bobby Durkin site or not Bobby Durkin site, I mean, some of their comments are having to be held by YouTube because it's so profanity laced. They're so angry at me. I'm not kidding. They are so pissed at me for saying you've wasted talent for many, many years. They have. We were shocked you finally used your talent. We are. You played against Ohio State and right after halftime, their two best wide receivers, and I despise Ohio State, by the way. Their two best wide receivers were hurt. One came into the game, played. The other one was already sitting on the bench, so you didn't have to play them. You didn't have to play against Alabama's full team for most of the game as far as their wide receivers. I said full team, their wide receivers. Jameson Williams and Mechie. I'm not an Alabama fan, but that is the truth. You got lucky 2 years in a row that their wide receivers got hurt. I talk trash to Georgia all the time. So Georgia fans, if you're about to wet your drawers on that, chill out on this comment. But they did get Dominique Lovett out of Missouri, who hit the transfer portal, and he's talented. So there are talented players who goes to Georgia that are wide receivers. I think when we think of Georgia, we think of defense and we think of running backs.
And tight ends, I would even say.
Yeah, tight ends. You can't forget those guys.
Right. I mean, because even honest Georgia fans, and I've heard them say this, they have their candid moments. I've heard them say they question the sanity of these top quarterbacks that are looking at Georgia because even up to now, until Kirby proves me wrong, whoever the starting quarterback is one interception away from Jackson Muschamp being the starting quarterback.
Oh, my God, that would be funny. Oh,
well, I mean, I just, prove me wrong.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think it's safe to say that Carson Beck will be. Is it Carson Beck?
I believe that's.
I think that's the guy.
That's who they think is going to be starting. Yeah.
They think that he's going to do his thing there. Then of course Vandegrift is there. If he's the same one I'm thinking of, he's got hair flowing everywhere. Good for him. That's a lot of hair. I'd like to have some of that hair. But linebackers, that's the thing. It was a linebacker that we got over them. And you're 30 minutes away. I know that everybody says, well, they're Clemson people, and I know Chase brought that up. They're Clemson people. That's great, and that's fine. But I'll have to say that Georgia, if I were being recruited today and I take this flag down out of my heart, if Georgia shows up at my front door to talk to my kid, and I look at how many Georgia players went in the NFL draft this past year, just 5-6 weeks ago, and how they're playing, I hate to say it, but unless like spiritual faith, like relationship with Jesus has anything to do with it, that would keep me away from Georgia, because I think Georgia is not a very good place to be. I've heard a lot of people talk about Georgia coaches and just how just loose they are. Not all of them. But if I don't have that driving me and keeping my head in line, I'm definitely going to consider Georgia. So to me, I think that this was a big win for Clemson as far as defensively goes.
Right. Well, and now granted, I'm not sure exactly what he's wanting to play, because he plays multiple positions in high school. Because I've seen his tape. He's an exceptional player at multiple positions. So a lot of what I've heard is that he was going to play wide receiver. So I'm looking at it from the perspective of, like I said, Georgia's not going to, is not bringing in, and I'm not saying they don't have talented wide receivers, but the top tier receivers in the country, that Georgia's not the first place you think that they're going to land.
Sure.
And I think the way, kind of to add on to what you said, the way Kirby Smart runs his defense, I think is having defensive players think twice about Georgia, because, I mean, they're seeing player after player after player having to transfer out because Kirby wants to rotate guys at such a rate that nobody can build up any stats to look good.
You're talking about at wide receiver.
Really all over the field. That's why he's lost a lot of corners as well.
I would say that looking at the NFL draft, that was a big sell on defense for me. If I am just looking at this as a business, it is a business. A lot of people don't like to accept that. I accepted. I had to accept it that, it's a business. We can talk about academics. We can talk about the school. We can talk about whatever, but it is now more than ever a business. Georgia is a hard sell on the defense, especially the defensive line. The front seven is a very, 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 the Kobe Dean. The guys like this, it's just like, right off the top of your head, you start to lose count of who was there last year and this year.
Sure, no doubt. And even to kind of expand on that, and another point you make, I do think players look at it as a business decision. Even beyond money, now with being in the NIL era, I absolutely think Arch Manning, I think Arch Manning, since you brought him up, had two lines of thought. Number one, I think he was going along the same lines as Peyton, wanting to, forge his own route, not go to Ole Miss or necessarily even Tennessee. But number two, I think Arch Manning looked at, okay, I'm going to thrive under a Sark system that's going to be really good for me. That's why I'm going to go to Texas.
And you can't blame him for wanting to get out of the shadow of the Mannings.
Sure.
The Mannings are still an SEC family, and transparently, I will not be shocked when Arch Manning transfers out. I'm not going to be shocked when Arch has enough of Texas and whatever's going on down there. I think that I definitely think that Sark is a fantastic offensive coordinator, but I'm not sold on him as a coach. And And I am not going to be shocked when Arch transfers, and most likely it's going to be to an SEC school. It'll just be to where at that point. But hey, I agree with you. Forge your own path. Don't go to Ole Miss like Uncle and your grandfather. Don't go to Tennessee. Can you imagine? But can you imagine him going to Tennessee, especially in this system? That would be crazy.
You know what I could definitely see as a possibility if he wanted to continue on his own path and not necessarily go to Tennessee like Peyton. Imagine what he could do with that Hugh Freeze system at Auburn.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Yeah. Eric Weir makes a great point here. If you're a Clemson fan, you know this is true. If you're a Clemson fan, you know this is true. It's huge. It's a huge win with these type of recruits because, let's face it, ESPN seems to go out of their way to talk down about Dabo and Clemson. You're right, Eric, because until Clemson was literally hoisting the trophy, you could not get them to stop talking about the SEC, namely Bama. You couldn't, because let's face it, that is their major investment. Look at the ACC network versus the SEC network. If I'm an SECer, what's the first thing I'm going to point out? Well, how many championships does your conference have total? That's a heck of a point. I agree with that. But when it comes to talking about college football and talking about talent and going out of your way to either support someone, not support them, or just say, here's the facts, you make the decision for yourself, they're definitely going to lean on the side of Dabo's falling apart. Dabo is, I mean, there's a lot of things there.
I think Dabo also paints a target on his back, and I'm not trying to delve down a rabbit hole, but because he puts his beliefs forefront, he paints a target on his back. I mean, just look at the world we live in. Anybody that does that paints a target on themselves.
Sure, but I agree with you. And there's even times that Sweeney says stuff, and it deals nothing with his personal beliefs as far as Christianity goes. It's just kind of his approach that kind of annoys me. He annoyed me towards the end of the season last year, especially. So, hey, Slim Shady, I've got someone coming on the show. I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, boss.
You be careful, and thanks for hopping out here. Be safe.
Sure. See you next time, buddy.
See you, pal. Ladies and gentlemen, the good-looking Henderson sister is joining me, and I can't believe that. Chase, you froze up, my friend. Chase. I can't hear you, dude. There we are.
Hey, what's up?
Ladies and gentlemen, Chase Henderson, the good-looking Henderson sister.
How about now? There we go.
Chase, how many horses have you shot today? Being the horse doctor you are. Everybody, Chase just got
true.
finished.
That's very true. Yeah. So, I had to step out for a second from the stream, so I missed like the last 5 or 6 minutes. But I wanted to say that the linebacker we got.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Yes, I can. It's breaking in and up. You
not enough, actually. It's hard to really get the teeth right.
Are you there? You're bouncing in and out, Chase. You might have to turn your video off so I can just get your audio.
Am I frozen or are you frozen?
You're going in and out. Everybody, Chase Henderson here. He just shot a horse. One of the several horses that have been dying recently at the Belmont Stakes. Chase just shot one of them. He's going to turn them into delicious jerky. Yes, that is a Dwight Schrute reference. Chase is probably going to try to come back on here, having some problems with his video. I will SJP. Oh my God. Just stop. Just stop, Parker. Yeah, Eric. Dabo's beliefs are contrary to ABC. Yeah. A lot of them. A lot of them. We got Parker. That's about right. Okay. Now we're in business. Chase, thanks for hopping on, my friend.
Yeah, man. No problem. I just wanted to jump in and say hello, and know that the horse business is it gets rough. The hardest thing that I've learned is that with getting rid of the horses, it's getting them to bite the gun correctly. Their teeth kind of get in the way, and you have a lot of misaimed shots that way. So I'm trying to.
And those hooves can't pull the trigger just right, man.
I know. I think I need to switch the toe trigger to a hoof trigger, or
man, we're so banned.
Or maybe just kind of like disguise the barrel as a ear of corn.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, folks.
Or
you understand?
Maybe I can just just kind of go.
Oh no!
There we go. I'm back.
You are? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
he froze up again. Folks, let me tell you this. I think the feds are messing with this video because he's talking about horse suicide, which is very, very, very. Now he's back. Now you're 100%, bro.
There we go. All right. And then I gotta jump in, and then I gotta get to clinic. A lot of horses. Sometimes you get a donkey thrown in there with the horses, and then you have mules, and then you have horses who think that they're mules, and mules who think that they're thoroughbreds. The horse business is it's nothing. Just be glad that you're not in it.
I'm thrilled that I'm not in it. Your sister brother just says that you double as a horse dentist.
No, that's the gun. The gun doubles as the horse dentist.
Okay, sorry.
His name is Mr. Pew Pew. But so I wanted to say, I think about the linebacker. I missed the last 20 minutes of the stream apparently,
which was world class, by the way.
Yeah, probably. I don't doubt it. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think you're right with the stigma. It's like, oh yeah, we got all this, and oh great, Clemson got somebody. What did he do? Like we're just not recruiting the right people that we're supposed to. Prime example of that. My sister and I are in a fantasy football league, and one of the guys sent a link to all of the recruits that their recruiter has gotten, and said this guy's a recruiting machine. And so I promptly sent the article, from CBS Sports, saying that we got him, and I went meh. And he was like, "What is that? Are you saying that there's gaps? I mean, all 5 stars and y'all get 1 5?" I'm like, so it's real. The stigma is real, but I'd much rather take a 2-star or 3-star like Isaiah Simmons and turn him into a manimal. So,
well, I think that, and I wanted to ask you and Parker about this. As I said, I've been out of town, And so I'm a few days late on this. I can't wait for somebody in the Clemson community to come on my site to be like, "Hey, man, you were late." Anyway, but but landing just these players across the board, and I know they could decommit, but I just don't see it happening. To me, this says we are correcting things. Anything that needed to be corrected, this is a major indication of it. What's your feelings on that?
No, I agree. I think, that the fact that now there's looks to be maybe some belief in Riley, that we're starting to get some bigger recruits. I think that if we had Riley, like last year, I don't know if our big boys would. If our big boys up front, like Brazil, if they would have left, but I think they were just tired. Tired of just working their butts off for nothing. Or pretty much not working their butts off for nothing, but carrying the team for the win.
Yeah.
I think that would have a lot. I think we would still have the big boys up front, but you got to move on from it, and I think we are. And then I think landing the receiver from Tampa, and of course now the number one linebacker. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that we're going backwards still. So, but we'll see. I got to run. I got to go take care of these horses and clean my gun. So,
Chase, thanks for hopping on, buddy. It's always good to talk to you. Chase Henderson, horse doctor extraordinaire. So some closing thoughts here for you. Look, if you're going to be a person who's like myself, who's going to come out and say Clemson needs to fix things, and you're specific about it, and I've been very specific. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm very much like, this needs to happen, 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 this needs to happen. And while I'm doing that, I have people going, "But you're not the coach." Yeah, I don't make $11 million per year. I wish I did. And then I had someone come on my channel and tell me, "Well, everybody can be an armchair quarterback. What specifically would you implement as the corrective action?" And I know that's something that probably this person was told to shut up people like me, because people will complain and then not have a solution. You're not brilliant if you point out that there's a problem. I've worked with people like this. They felt like they were brilliant people by just pointing out, "Oh, there's a problem," and then they kind of go off, go away. Now, if you really want to be a smart person, you identify that there's a problem, then give a tangible solution. And I said that Dabo Swinney needed to hire someone who is going to be explosive and powerful at the offensive coordinating position. Guess what he did? He went out and he got Garrett Riley. The only way that he would have been able to beat Garrett Riley, in my opinion, the only way he could have beat him is if he would have went down to Georgia and took Todd Monken. And Todd Monken went to the NFL. If it doesn't work out there, because the NFL, the majority of them, not all of them, but the majority of them are a bunch of crying babies. According to where Clemson's at during that time, if Garrett Riley's about to, leave and take a head coaching job and Todd Monken's coming back to the college game, Clemson, South Carolina, dial him up. But I said that they needed to do that. So I was specific. I said he needs to hire someone who knows what they're doing, the college game, who has the energy, who will dial up the plays, who will use his talent, who will recruit players that will fit the system he's running. Don't go get DJ. DJ did not fit your system. That was bad on both parties. DJ should have went, I don't fit their system. I'm not signing with him. Clemson should have looked at him and said, he's talented, but he doesn't fit our system. So if you put a square peg in a round hole, guess what? It's a mess. But I said this, and he did it. You have to go out and get the players. You have to. He got Bryant Wesco. I think out of all of this, Bryant Wesco might be the big story. I'm not taking away from Sammy Brown. Please, Sammy, stay with Clemson. But what Chase just said really stuck out to me. He said Brisset left, Murphy left. These guys left. They could have come back for another year, but they were tired. It's hard to win a football game because your offense is so terrible. Even with the talented players that we do have at Clemson, it was just mismanaged. You had a guy who shouldn't have been playing quarterback for Clemson, But it's hard to win the game from the defensive tackle position, unless it's 4th and 1 and they're going to run right at you. Okay. Now you have a chance. But remember, when Christian Wilkins and Cleveland Farrell, Austin Bryant, Dexter Lawrence, when those guys knew that Trevor Lawrence was signing on and they saw the returning cast, they said, we're coming back. When you see these changes, you see these players coming in, when you see the proper coordinator who's coming in, you see people signing on. That's where things change, folks. I said it. I called it. Hey, some of you that go on TigerNet and trash me, you watch me. You watch Pigskin Pete, you trash both of us. You trash other people who doesn't fit your little clique for some reason. You should go in there and say that what I said was right all along. Yeah. There's a few of you know exactly who I'm talking to. I was right. You were wrong. You were posting about it. You said some nasty things. It always comes back to me. I honestly think it's funny because you're the same people who, late 1990s, you were still probably praising Tommy West. You're probably the same people. You're probably the same people that didn't think Bowden needed to go. You're probably the same people. You're probably the same people who didn't realize that Bobby Durkins is a made-up individual while you were complaining that he makes Clemson look bad. I was right. You were wrong. You're welcome. And I know that comes off crass and arrogant, but I get sick and tired of it when you sit and you watch championship teams make championship moves. And you say, why aren't we doing the same thing? Because we've lost our mojo. And then so you don't know what you're talking about. We just made a championship move. We made a championship move at the beginning of the year when he hired Garrett Riley. Now you're bringing on Sammy Brown. You retain Sammy Brown. Do you know how many Sammy Browns they've had ties to Clemson, but we've lost them in years past? This lets me know that Clemson is riding the ship. That 10 wins and winning the ACC championship is not the ultimate goal. It's not the replacement. It's exactly what Dabo said it was back in 2013 when he said, this is just a step in the right direction. Ladies and gentlemen, Dabo Swinney, who I've been begging to come back, the original Dabo, the artist formerly known as Dabo, I believe he's back, folks. And this proves it. Signing these guys, or getting the commitment, excuse me. They could decommit. I get it. It happens all the time. But getting these guys to commit, that lets me and the rest of the college football world know it looks like he's on his way back. He's on his way back to the championship mode. And I look forward to seeing the other recruits who might have even committed already to other teams see this. And while they're laying in bed at night, there's nobody around them. There's nobody talking to them about their decisions. It's just them and their thoughts. And they go, what about little old Clemson? What about little old Clemson bringing Sammy Brown in, bringing in Garrett Riley? Bryant Wesco. What's so special about Bryant Wesco leaving the state of Texas. Well, they've got football everywhere. He has to fly over Alabama and LSU to get to us. He has to go past Lane Kiffin. He has to go past Hugh Freeze at Auburn. He has to go past the Georgia Bulldogs to come to Clemson, South Carolina. You might see that turn the page for us. Well, folks, look, I'm going to wrap this sucker up. I appreciate everybody for coming on. Slim Shady Canes. Parker Henderson's more attractive brother, Chase. You two are crazy. And to everybody who's been in the comment section, I really, really do appreciate this. And we will see what happens, what transpires because of this. If anything, just retaining these guys, it's really going to do a lot to the wide receiving room. And then for Sammy Brown, having that guy anchoring the defense as time goes on, it is going to be massive. Still Gamble says wide receiver U is back. We'll put a pause on it, but I believe definitely it is. Dwayne Wicker, it's good to see you. Thanks for the comment. Y'all take care of yourself. I'll catch you next time. I will have a week 3 or 4. I think it's week 4 coming up that I've got to do a video on the week 4 schedule for the 2023 season. Everybody take care of yourself. If you hadn't subscribed, subscribe. Hit the notifications, pass this around. You take care of yourself. I'll catch you next time.